Hey guys, welcome back to an interesting video in Wild Rift. So today we're back with an AP Kai'Sa supplementary guide as promised from my tier list video. So overall, Kai'Sa, as I also said in my tier list video, I believe she is still the best ADC to play just because of how much she can really do and how many builds she can actually go. So the AP build remains relatively similar, but we're going to go through it right now. So we're going to start with the items. So the first thing you want to go for is going to be the Gnasher's Tooth. And remember that Kai'Sa wants to get her Q evolve as quickly as possible, so you don't want to waste time with boots. You want to go straight into the Gnasher's Tooth. So this is going to give you, of course, your attack speed, your ability haste, and your on-hit magic damage, but it's also going to give you AD at the beginning. I believe if you buy Gnasher's Tooth without any other items on an ADC, I believe it gives you AD, although I'm not completely sure, but if it doesn't, it's definitely going to give you AD when you get your Gluttonous Greaves. So Gluttonous Greaves, of course, gives you 35 AD and Omnivamp, and the reason why we're going for this in the AP build is, in all honesty, the mana boots is not that useful for Kai'Sa, because although it does give a lot of AP, it doesn't actually give, the mana doesn't actually really benefit Kai'Sa a whole lot, and Omnivamp is just going to benefit her more. But don't worry, because after we get the Riftmaker, the light Riftmaker, and that, we're going to get AP from Gnasher's Tooth, so that's going to all work out. So here we get the light Riftmaker, of course we get health, we get AP, magic pen, and ability haste, and here we get even more Omnivamp, which of course is going to combine with our boots Omnivamp. It's going to give us like about almost 20% Omnivamp, which is really good. And of course we also get the Void Corruption passive, which is now going to be a total of 10% after 4 seconds. Of course Kai'Sa is an ADC, can be in fights for very long and has a lot of DPS, so this is going to be really good for just dishing out more damage in the later part of the fight. And of course, third item is the standard death cap to boost your AP. Of course, you do pay a health penalty for that as well, same as the IE, but of course it's going to be worth it. So here is the real first kind of change, which is going to be going for a light Infinity Orb. Now, of course, after it got changed into a light item, it now is going to crit when someone is below 45% health, which is just insane when I think about it even now. But basically, of course, you're going to get more AP, you're going to get the flat magic pen as well as the percent magic pen, and of course, as I said, you're going to crit against people who are below 45% health. So it helps Kai'Sa assassinate people if she dives in, you know, with a combo. And finally, as the last item, of course, we have Crown, really just for the safety, but you also get some pretty nice stats. But yeah, we do have Crown for that spell shield and just for the extra safety. So for the runes, I like to go for Conqueror. You can go for Lethal Tempo as well, because you can stack up Lethal Tempo and play front to back. But I think with this Kai'Sa build, sometimes you get into fights that are very short. So having your Q and W prop 2 extra stacks of Conqueror on top of your autos is very helpful for getting Conqueror stacked up quickly. And you know, just using Conqueror in a fight compared to Lethal Tempo, where you have to auto attack a lot more. And of course, you do auto attack quite a bit, so Brutal is great. Giant Slayer is always the option here, unless, you know, coup de grace is better into full squishy team comps. And here we go for Legend Alacrity for the attack speed, because we don't really have a lot of attack speed in our build except for on the Gnasher's Tooth. And here, of course, as usual, you can go for Hex Splash or you can go for Bone Plating, depending on what you prefer. And for the spells, we're going to go for Flash together with Exhaust. But with all that said, let's hop into the gameplay. Alright, so now we're jumping into the gameplay itself. So obviously you generally want to pick AP Kai'Sa when there is no AP on your team, because there's no real reason to pick the AP variant of Kai'Sa over like on hit or even crit. So you don't really want to just pick it every match, things like that. But honestly, in this particular match, I didn't necessarily need to go for AP Kai'Sa, because the enemy team is like full squishy. It's like literally no tank on the enemy team, so I didn't actually need to go for AP Kai'Sa, but I just wanted to kind of play AP Kai'Sa to kind of you know, see how good it is, and you guys will see from the video how good it is as well, or bad for that matter. But yeah, you can judge for yourselves. But I think it's pretty solid AP choice. I definitely prefer AP Kai'Sa to other AP champions, like for example AP Varus. Don't quite like AP Varus personally, at least not the pure one. So here, right from the get-go, there is some shenanigans. Kindred is invading Set on the buff, which I didn't notice, by the way, before Set pinged, but I'm not sure why he's contesting. I thought he was just going to give the buff, but instead he not only gets the buff stolen from him, but he actually gets chunked out. So now here, Leona decides to commit onto Zeri. Zeri is forced to ghost and flash away. Yumi also used the summoner spell, so at least in lane, I still have my summoner spell, so as the enemy lane does not. Pantheon actually roamed all the way from mid, which does give TF an advantage in lane with the wave control. And Kindred is now even doing the Krugs, which is kind of insane. Set is having a bad time. He's still level 1, not very useful at all. Here, Zeri kind of gets caught, but with Kindred there, it's not very easy to really do anything. Zeri hops over the wall, gets the first blood on Leona, but I'm able to trade the kill. Set with a relatively nice pull. Unfortunately, Yuumi healing is a little bit too insane, and we do end up going down to Kindred. Set nearly is the next victim of Kindred. He's literally on 1 HP. Prowling projectile hits a minion instead of the Set, so Set does survive and is able to back. In the meanwhile, me and Leona have revived, so we are running back to the lane. And yeah, so kind of a messy early game. Honestly, I think that if I was playing the Set jungle, which is a pretty weird pick by itself, and a Kindred invades me, the first thing I'm gonna do is I'm going to run away, because there's no way Set wins against Kindred level 1 unless you know, we give up the entire wave and rotate to help him, which you could argue that that's not a bad idea, but I think that just getting the guaranteed goal on the wave compared to a coin flip fight is probably you know, a better idea overall. But regardless, here we are. Now Zeri gets caught out completely. She tries to dash away, does so quite successfully. I, you know, just pop a Hex Splash because why not? It's only on the 20-second cooldown. Does get completely chunked out here. But Yuumi is of course a champion, and she basically just heals Zeri back up to full health, which is completely ridiculous, but you know, it's just Yuumi things. Twisted Fate ults, but we realize he's actually not going to come here because I see a fight happening at the top lane, so we don't have to be too scared of him in that sense. And we're just going to continue on farming. So in general, when I play Kai'Sa, I like to play Kai'Sa with an engaged support, because I think that just having an engaged support to, you know, number 1, apply stacks of your passive for you, and number 2, lock someone down so you can land like a free W, or so you can ult in without having to attack someone yourself, is just vastly superior to an enchanter. An enchanter can work, like Yuumi and Lulu especially are great with Kai'Sa, because Kai'Sa is sort of a hyper carry as well. And really, Kai'Sa can work with any champion. It's just that I think you have a preference for having an engaged support to go in so that you can go in with them. But of course, it kind of depends on what style Kai'Sa you like to play as well. If you play Kai'Sa front to back, of course having an enchanter could be, you know, it could be a good thing as well, because you're not really dashing in, you know, all the time. But yeah, so you kind of works with anything really. So quite a pretty solid solo queue champion, which is one of the reasons why I rate Kai'Sa so highly. Nice E by Leona into a really nice ult. I'm ulting to avoid the Yuumi ult, but because I'm playing against a Zeri, basically any other champion probably would have died there, but because it's a Zeri, she can just leap over the wall and get to safety. So yeah. The only thing we really got out of that is we got Yuumi summoner spells, which she did exhaust me correctly this time instead of the Leona. But we do manage to back and pick up the Nash's Tooth, which is going to give us the Q evolution. Now the enemy bot lane, in my opinion, are making a mistake of not backing. Like here you can see Pantheon has just jumped in. Zeri again uses the wall to just escape. But I mean, honestly, she only survived because she was a Zeri, but still, it is still a mistake to not just back there, because they are not going to be able to actually have any items here, and we are going to get Tara plates anyway instead of them, because Zeri didn't actually get any Tara plates, whereas here me and Leona are going to get 2. So you can see that overall, definitely that is not the play to stick around, and we might even get 3. Let's see. Twisted Fate is ulting, so we are not going to get 3 because Twisted Fate is here with the stun card. I'm pretty sure Leona is in range, but he stun cards the minion he stun cards the Set, sorry, not Leona. And here, Zeri jumps in, again, gets full combo by me. Set is able to pick up the kill with the smite of all things. And here, I'm getting rooted, but I basically don't actually have to move, I just need to auto attack. Yuumi is pretty low, and Pantheon is able to finish off the kill. So Kindred is now on the chase, but not too significant honestly, because here you can see 3 of us are here. We just combine chain CC with the burst damage as well, and Kindred just gets one shot and shut down. You can't chase into 3 people, and when 2 of them have like hard CC, like with the Sets, pull into the Pantheon stun into Kai'Sa's burst damage, and you know their burst damage as well. Kindred just melts in a second, being a very squishy champion herself. So now, looking at the state of the game, somehow in top lane, the Urgot is 1-2-1 and Yasuo's 1-3-1. But Yasuo has like the same goal as me despite being 1-3-1. So I have no idea what's been going on there. He hasn't been getting any tower plates, so I don't know where all his gold came from. I guess good farming and I don't know. I really don't know where where all of Yasuo's gold came from, and he's really fed. But of course, me and Pantheon are the most fed members of the game. We are doing pretty well. I'm 2-1-3. Not amazing, but definitely, you know, doing pretty well. Here I'm just going to start off the dragon and start just whacking the dragon. The enemy team is coming into contest. Kindred comes in, and we were going to turn on Kindred, but honestly, she just gets one-shot by the Pantheon before I even have a chance to do anything, which is not a bad thing. So she just gets one shot and we secure the dragon. Now Zeri is caught inside the tower. We have 4 people here for the tower dive, but here I'm finally able to reach. You can see the insane sustain from Yuumi here, and I'm starting to tank in the tower. Eventually Leona finally gets the kill onto the Zeri, but Set ends up dying as well, so it kind of really ends up not really mattering that much. Here Twisted Fate goes in, is able to pick up a kill, and now me and Leona are on the run from the Kindred who just revived. Kindred does get the slow from the Borg, and yeah, I can't really help Leona, so I'm going to just have to run away so that I don't die myself. I'm getting marked by Kindred here. It's quite clear that they are trying to go for me if I stick around the tower, so I'm going to back off a little bit. Set is on the way, so here I'm just clearing out the minions. Set is going to go in onto the Kindred. And I'm just going to blast her with basically everything I have. We managed to finish off the kill onto the Kindred. Pantheon comes in, but it's a little bit too far away from Twisted Fate to actually ult. So instead, we're just going to get the tower as a consolation prize instead. Surprisingly, after all this time, Rift Herald is still up, but since all of the tower plates have actually fallen, Rift Herald isn't actually that valuable anymore, because the main value of Rift Herald is from using it to hit one of the tier 1 towers to actually get the tower plates. But since the tower plates are no longer there, Rift Herald loses a lot of its value. It's still probably something you want to take though, just to get another tower, but it's just sitting there. So huge wave at mid, I'm able to pick up the huge wave at mid, and yeah, so here I was thinking of going for Skull, but I realized that there's no one in mid lane, so instead I'm just going to clear the next wave as well. Kai'Sa has really good wave clear and she has her Q evolve, and then I'm going to just start blasting the tower. So Kindred finally picks up the Herald. She's pathing to the top, so I know that she's not coming for me. Instead, Twisted Fate's coming for me, so I'm just going to back off. Don't quite want to fight him under tower. Pantheon is picking up the Skull Crab, and now we decide to actually just rotate to top lane, where it's clear that the fight is going to happen. Or rather, Pantheon decides to rotate to top lane. I'm deciding to try to push in this wave and maybe force the tower. We do have Leona on the way, so here I'm just trying to force the tower. Twisted Fate is focusing on the minions instead of me, and we do get the tower. And here, somehow, I end up tanking tower instead of Leona. I thought that Leona walked into tower range and then she would be starting to tank tower, but somehow I ulted in and I tanked the tower. I don't know, even on the replay, like of course there was the match itself, and then I had to record this replay, and now I'm voicing over the recording. So in all 3 times it just looks like Leona entered the tower first, so I'm not sure why I was taking tower aggro there, but because of that we missed out on the kill on Twisted Fate. But what we do get instead is we base and we pick up our Riftmaker, which is going to give us the E-Evolve. Of course, despite the fact you're playing AP Kai'Sa, I still max E second and evolve E second, because I really don't think that maxing W and evolving W is really that useful compared to maxing E, because remember that although this is an AP build, this is not a poke style AP build. This is still an auto attack style AP build where you use your Nash's 2s to get your on-hit magic damage together with just a lot of attack speed in general. And of course, Riftmaker is made for long fights. This is not the mana immune like Luden's kind of build where your W is doing a lot of damage. So maxing your E first to get the lower cooldown and the more attack speed, as well as to evolve it to get the invisibility, is going to be infinitely more helpful than just getting the extra stack and lower cooldown on your W. So that's what we're going for here. Here my team is clearly trying to make a play, but Zeri's under tower. Yasuo has run away as well, so no real play to be made here. Leona tries to hide in the bush to cheese a little bit, and gets spotted by Twisted Fate's card. So it's quite clear that she's there. And here I'm just trying to decide whether I should go clear the wave or stick around in case a play breaks out. So I'm going to go for the wave, which is of course the guaranteed goal. And here I'm making my way back to the jungle, where again I'm playing my Pantheon is ulting in. I get a Q onto Zeri, but she barely takes any damage. And here is that Kindred is getting caught out by Pantheon. Does pop the ulti, but ends up dying eventually anyway. I ult in to try to kill the Zeri, but Zeri is way too tanky. I'm gonna have to flash out instead. Zeri finally gets tossed back by Set and stunned by Pantheon, so she does die. But here I'm stuck in a 1v1 versus Twisted Fate and Yuumi. And yeah, Twisted Fate has the Nash's Tooth, so he auto attacks really quickly, and with the Yuumi healing as well, kind of impossible to kill him. And he has like the same amount of gold as me at this point, so he is really fed as well. Yeah, so obviously the most fed people in the game are the two of us as well as Pantheon. Pantheon's really doing well as well. And yeah, so unfortunately we don't end up winning that fight, because we can't really duel the Twisted Fate. So here we are on the revive together with the Pantheon, and we are walking to the dragon as quickly as we can. Doesn't really look like the enemy team is really doing very much with the dragon. Hex flashing over the wall just to enter the pit a little bit faster. And here we can see Kindred coming in again. Pantheon once again just one-shots her before she even has a chance to ult. I mean, she didn't have ult here, but he just basically just one-shot her. So wind wall is down. So here I'm going to go onto the Yasuo, ulting in, trying to finish off the Yasuo. We do get him, but he's like worth no gold actually. Flash stun comes in and Zeri gets pulled back. She does die eventually. We all get rooted by Yuumi. Unfortunately, so no real more follow-up that could be had. Instead, we're going to go for this tower. Twisted Fate's playing with fire a little bit. We run out of minions though, and yeah, Leona tanks as much as she can. Set is now tanking, pops the W for the damage as well as the shield gets popped by Twisted Fate in return. And yeah, we really need to back off because we shouldn't be fighting when there's no minions anyway. Not sure why the Set committed so heavily to the tower dive. Twisted Fate ults, and to me the only real sensible target is going to be Leona, so here I was just sticking around to make sure she can back, but it turns out that they're going for the Pantheon instead, and Pantheon is just backing. He is able to escape. I'm not sure where the chickens were aggroing there, but yeah. So here I'm going to quickly pick up these chickens because we just need a little bit more for death cap, and I believe this should give us enough for the death cap itself. So here we get the death cap, which also gives us our final evolve on the W. So here, 3 core items completed. This is of course where we get really strong. Of course, with every item we get even stronger. Next up, when we complete, the Infinity Orb is going to be even better. But of course, whenever you get death cap, it's going to be a huge power spike just because of the insane amounts of AP you get. Now somehow, Set doesn't have any buff share, and it's like 14 minutes into the game, so it means he hasn't actually taken red buff in one eternity, which is kind of baffling. I guess he's just been perma-ganking or something, but I was pretty surprised that there isn't any red buff. So here he ults Twisted Fate into the tower. I follow up with the ulti and the burst damage, but Twisted Fate survives on 1 HP, which is pretty unlucky. Instead, Kindred's not the one getting caught up by Leona. Gets one shot before she has the chance to pop the ult, which seems to be a theme in this match for the Kindred. She's just getting chain CC'd and one shot. She started the game 3-0, and now she's like 5-7, so she's had a little bit of a rough time ever since that first death. So here there's not really much to do in mid lane anyway, so I'm just going to rotate down to bot, even though Yasuo is definitely dead. There's no way he survives against Urgot in my opinion, but I do get an assist by getting that one auto attack in before Urgot executes. But yeah, so we're going to leave Urgot to push out bot, but he ends up not doing that. We're going to go back mid to catch the wave that's pushing in. And Leona is just, just sitting there in the bush just as a human ward. And I'm getting marked by Kindred here, so here I'm just trying to deny Kindred's mark, which we do successfully. And then we see Set's doing the blue buff, so we're just going to help him out a little bit to get a blue buff share. But once again, it does not happen actually. That was the previous round, but this time we do get the blue buff share. The previous round was kind of the same problem. But here, we're able to get both of the components for the Infinity Orb, which of course includes the magic penetration. flat magic penetration with the enemy team is, you know, really squishy. So that is going to come in very, very handy. Clearing out the top wave, which is pushed in. And here you can see a little bit dangerous thing about what I'm doing here is, even though I'm clearing the top wave and even though I'm near the Baron itself, firstly Yasuo just comes in with a full combo. I exhaust him, but he's like kind of winning 1v1 despite being like 1 and 7, which is, how insane is that, by the way? Like, Yasuo is 1 and 7 and he is like killing me when I'm like 7, 2 and 6, and he has Thornmail, but yeah. That's just ridiculous. So without Pantheon there, I may or may not have died. It was just an intense 1v1 between a fed ADC and a non-fed Yasuo, and yeah, kind of doesn't really work out for me. So here Twisted Fate is getting even more fed, and he is definitely you know, someone that we really need to kill, and we need to do it quickly. So here he ults, and me and Pantheon have the same idea, which is going to walk close to each other. So if he decides to ult anywhere near us, we can one-shot him together. It's going to be pretty easy, honestly. If he gets anywhere close to us, Pantheon just stuns him and we just one-shot him instantly. So he wisely does not, you know, do that. So here the red buff is up. This time I'm just going to take the red buff for myself. Although I could technically wait for the set, you know, to actually come and grab it. So yeah, I'm gonna back. I'm really close to the Infinity Orb, so I'm gonna grab the Infinity Orb just off of the gold I got from the red buff, which I may not have, but I will not have actually gotten enough if set actually took the red buff. So anyways, this is right in time for the spawn of the Elder Dragon. There's no third dragon this match because we just took too long to get the first 2 dragons, but here Twisted Fate ults. And here ideally we want to find some picks or something before, and Set and Pantheon are still on the way. Pantheon ults in onto Twisted Fate goes down, we get the shutdown, and this should be a pretty successful fight. I exhaust Zeri, I'm onto the back line and just killing the Zeri. Wind wall is up, so we can't really do anything about it. Stun goes in onto Yasuo, he goes down, and Yuumi gets killed by the Set ulti, and that should be game. 30-40 seconds death timers on the enemy team, and we have a wave in mid after I clear that minion, and we can just go ahead and push through mid and end the game without having to secure the Elder Dragon. Alright, so as usual I'm going to leave you guys with the stats. Thank you guys so much for watching the video, and goodbye.
Victory!